Oh, hello, it's Wednesday. And Wednesday means we read Geronimo Stilton books. And later on, we're going to read Thea Stilton books. We're reading The Journey Through Time. Let's continue what happened. You remember last time? They ended up in Egypt. And they got caught by some band. I can't remember his name anymore. I'm going to have to read it again. And they think that they're grave robbers. So let's see what happens. All right. Oh yeah, that's right. His name was the noble Mousehotep sarcophagus. Grand Vizier Mousehotep bowed before Ramesses. "Honor to you, Pharaoh," he squeaked. "I wish you life, strength, and health." Then he turned to the scribe. "Read," he ordered. The scribe read aloud. "High Pharaoh, son of the sun, raise pride. Surprise this 5 rodents behind the pyramid of Cheops. They are mummy thieves. Let's feed them to the crocodiles." The Pharaoh stared at us with a look of fire in his eyes. Then he finally spoke. His voice was deep and scary. It made me shiver with fright. "Is this true?" he asked us. Professor Von Volt stepped forward and bowed. "Noble Ramesses II, we are innocent," he said. The noble Mousehotep laughed an evil laugh. "Innocent?" he scoffed. "Everyone says that. To the crocodiles, I say. Did you get that, scribe?" The scribe chuckled. "Yeah, I got it, boss," he replied. But the Pharaoh lifted a paw. "If you're not thieves, then what are you?" he asked. "Pharaoh, Ramesses, we are travelers from afar," the professor explained. "We have knowledge of many secrets." "You must be magicians," Nefertari squeaked with excitement. Trap took advantage of the situation and threw himself at the foot of the throne. "Oh yeah, we are magicians," he said, "and we're really, really good ones." Trap pulled on a black cloak with a silky scarlet lining. Then he rummaged around in his mysterious satin pouch. He clapped his paws, and instantly a white dove appeared out of thin air and settled on Nefertari's shoulders. The queen squeaked with delight. Next, Trap produced a top hat. Out of the hat popped 2 tiny white rabbit ears. You get back in there," Trap grunted. "I don't want you yet." It turned out that Trap's satin pouch contained everything a mouse needed for a magic show. "Come one, come all," Trap shouted loudly. "Come be amazed by the magic of the great and powerful Trapolik, who came from afar. He'll make objects mysteriously appear and disappear, and he will saw in half the most reckless volunteer, the most courageous volunteer." He waved a silk scarf in front of the Pharaoh's scepter, and it disappeared instantly. 6 soldiers rushed toward him, but in an instant, Trap made the scepter appear again. "Voila!" Trap squeaked triumphantly. Everyone held their breath. Then Ramesses chuckled. "Oh, oh, oh, oh." Everyone laughed with him. "I need a box," Trap squeaked loudly. "Never mind, I found one." He dragged a sarcophagus covered in gold and precious stones in from the throne. "You're about to see the world's most spectacular demonstration," Trap announced boldly.
"Hey!"
the noble Mousehotep protested.
"Let go of that sarcophagus, it's mine, and it's very precious."
But Ramesses nodded for Trap to continue with the show. Mousehotep began to sob uncontrollably.
"That sarcophagus cost me a fortune,"
he whined.
"Write it down, scribe."
Got it, boss, the scribe replied. Ladies and gentlemen, I will now saw my cousin in half, Trap announced. Oh, what I am saying, I am going to saw him in thirds. No, in quarters. Yes, quarters. After all, I'm feeling good today. I began to sweat profusely. Why me? I squeaked. Trap pulled me by the tail. Oh, come on, he insisted. You've got the easiest part. Then he tripped me and locked me in the sarcophagus. Help! I yelled. I'm afraid of closed spaces, Trap. Let me out. I tell you, I'm claustrophobic. Oh, you'll be fine, said Trap. Don't you trust me? Of course not, I mumbled from inside the sarcophagus, but Trap didn't hear me. He began sawing and whistling at the same time. Don't worry, Geronimo, Trap said. I've tried this trick a dozen times. It almost always works. After a few seconds, Trap stopped sawing. Wah! He announced. I've sliced my cousin. I reached down to feel my tail. It was still intact. Trap opened the sarcophagus and I jumped out. I was pale as a slice of mozzarella. The court applauded with enthusiasm. Bravo! The mice shouted. More, more! Pharaoh, who's going to fix my sarcophagus? Mouse-Kotep demanded as he wiped his tears. Quiet, Ramesses hissed. Don't bother the great and powerful Trapolik, who came from afar. Yeah, Trap agreed with a nod of his head. Don't bother the great and powerful Trapolik, who came from afar. Mouse-Kotep glared at my cousin. And all the sphinxes in Egypt, I'll get you, he grumbled under his breath. Write that down, scribe. Got it, boss, the scribe replied. The pharaoh had been so impressed with Trap's magic show that he invited us to stay instead of throwing us to the crocodiles. The Egyptians were about to have a feast. Let the celebration in honor of Happy begin, Ramesses announced. I realized he was referring to the flooding of the Nile River, which the Egyptians revered and called Hapi, or Happy. The priests dressed all in white and lit sticks of perfumed incense. 7 dancers wearing golden threaded wigs and lapis lazuli necklaces entered the great hall. They danced as they shook the sistrum and tossed rose petals into the air. Then they somersaulted gracefully around the pool in the center of the hall, which was filled with water lilies. Meanwhile, the musicians played sweet melodies on the harp, cithara, lyre, lute, castanets, and tambourines. The servants set out a meal of quail, roasted meat, goat cheese, spicy beans, pomegranates, grapes, caramelized nuts, honey, and fig marmalade on alabaster dishes. Ramesses popped a honey treat in his mouth. Suddenly, he groaned in pain. Oh, ouch, he said. Ouchie, ouch, ouch.
Poor dear, does your tooth ache?
Nefertiti squeaked. Oh, yes, he sighed, rubbing his cheek. I've really got to go to a dentist. The festivities were about to begin, and a servant brought Nefertiti a golden mirror, studded with rubies, so she can freshen her makeup up. Unfortunately, the mirror was clouded over and couldn't reflect very much. Trap took note of this and rummaged around in his pouch. He took out a sparkling new mirror. Then he bowed down and offered it to the queen. She gasped in wonder. Ooh, magic! She exclaimed. Nefertari gave Trap the sweetest smile. He's phenomenal! I heard one of the other mice whisper. A true magician, with a whisker-licking good one at that, too, another replied. It seems he comes from very far away, a third whispered. He must be very powerful. Yes, very, very powerful, the first agreed. Maybe more powerful than the Pharaoh. The second said. The queen smiled at him. Ramesses must be so jealous, another chimed in. Mummified mozzarella, we were in big trouble. If these mice were correct, it wasn't a good idea to make the Pharaoh jealous. Mouseketep whispered something in the Pharaoh's ear. Ramesses narrowed his eyes and curled the tips of his mustache in a way that made my whiskers tremble in fear. Until next week, we're going to see what happens to Geronimo and his team. See you then. Thanks for listening.